Three low-paid workers and their union have begun a fresh legal attempt to force Boris Johnson to seek an extension to the Brexit deadline instead of leaving with no deal. They claim departing without an agreement could damage employees' rights, which are derived from EU law. Our legal correspondent Clive Coleman reports.
Facing an uncertain future, Maritza Castillo Calle is Spanish but has lived in the UK for 6 years. Working in catering, she's one of around 3.5 million EU nationals working here. Like many low-paid workers, she relies on rights that come from EU law, rights which the Independent Workers' Union of Great Britain argues could be weakened by a no-deal Brexit.
Many low-paid and precarious workers like me use laws from the EU in order to defend ourselves. And also, when a company transfers to another company, to defend our rest, our hours and our rights overall.
EU-derived workers' rights apply to all workers in the UK, not simply EU nationals working here.
Many of the employment rights that we take for granted, such as the right to paid holidays and protection against discrimination, are based in EU law. And if we crash out without a deal, those rights could be at risk from day one. And that's one of the many reasons why it's so important that the Prime Minister obey the law and we not put those rights at risk on day one.
The case being brought against the Prime Minister here at the High Court couldn't be clearer. Boris Johnson has repeatedly said that in the event of no deal, he won't seek an extension to negotiate one which the so-called Benn Act, which he calls the Surrender Act, compels him to seek. The union argues that flouts an Act of Parliament and is as clear an example of breaching the rule of law as you could possibly have. The union case joins a similar challenge here from the rights group Liberty and one in the Scottish courts brought by the SNP MP Joanna Cherry and others. There on Friday, the government stated in court papers that the Prime Minister would send a letter to the EU asking for a delay if there's no deal by the 19th of October. It's a conundrum, as the Prime Minister's position remains this.
So what we're going to do is come out on October the 31st, deal or no deal.
If the UK appears to be heading towards a no-deal Brexit on the 31st of October and the Prime Minister has found a way around the Benn Act, Maritza's and the other legal challenges could all end up at the UK's Supreme Court in a dramatic last-minute legal bid to prevent a no-deal departure just days before the deadline. Clive Coleman, BBC News.